Hi, it's Mary Beth Tucker with sacredgrove.com. This is my first stream live, so bear with me. No promises, yeah? So we got Shadow here. She's hanging out, waiting for some birds to come on the ledge and eat a few seeds that I leave out for them for their food and for her amusement. And no birds or squirrels are hurt in the process, or injured in the process. So that's the good news. So what I'm doing is reading from my book, my bestseller, Peace in Passing: Comfort for Loving Humans During Animal Transitions. Now, this, as I said in the title, this is for animal transitions. This is not for everybody's animal. I just wanted to make sure that the things that I'm sharing, that you know who I'm talking about, okay? Because yeah, you're not for my Miss Shadow at 5, but my little Stella is she's on that path, and we're talking more about her. So um, let's start. This is part of chapter 4, finding a spiritual approach to losing our animals. So I start with a quote from Robert Grant, who wrote a book called The Place We Call Home. The intellect uses only the faculties of reason, conceptualization, and interpretation to translate our experiences into a mental framework of understanding. It doesn't help when the heart is breaking because someone close to us has died. We must go deeper to deeper levels of ourselves in order to receive the healing needed. And that's what this chapter is about. So here we go. This is my book here. I categorize our responses to our animals' deaths in two groups: the personal and the spiritual. The personal response is how a death affects us emotionally. If you only experience personal responses, that feels devastating. All sorts of issues come up. Did I hold on too long? Did I let them go before their time? They were too young. How could they have died from, whatever? I did everything I knew to keep them healthy. I'm not ready to let them go. How will I go on? Okay. I'm embarrassed to admit it, but I'm a bit relieved. They were suffering, and taking care of them was a burden. Why did they die when I wasn't home? Didn't they love me? So, and if this was from other circumstances, maybe a predator, an accident, food, bad medicine, why my animal? Could I have prevented it? Okay. Tough stuff. So that's why I say we need a spiritual understanding. I'm not talking religion here. I think religion is one of our ways of having a spiritual understanding. Okay. All of these strong negative emotions or thoughts are normal. However, if you spend a lot of time there, it's a recipe for homemade hell. It also puts up a barrier to reconnecting with your animal after they've passed. Don't put aside the personal responses to death. Embrace the questions and emotions like they are small children needing comfort. Answer and honor them as best as you can. Let them go when they're ready. Don't hang on to those thoughts and emotions beyond their shelf life. That is poison to your well being. Develop a spiritual response to death instead. I invite you and I give you permission to create your own spiritual reality of death. If you believe people survive death, can you extend that belief to animals? Since I've experienced my own animal's presence after they died, I know this is a reality. You might develop a daily spiritual practice that includes your animals. Each morning, I turn my life and will over to care of Creator. I ask that I be guided to be and do what Creator and my higher self have always known I'm here for. And I practice a modality that boosts the energy field for myself and my family. And of course, this includes my animals. Developing a daily spiritual practice that includes your animals, can provide some breathing space, a place of sanctuary. This may help you pull the heavy curtain of emotion aside so you can see your animal's viewpoint, what they're experiencing, and what they desire. It roots you into a quieter place with less distraction. Okay. How do you reconcile yourself to losing someone you love? Mm-hmm. You might start with your version of my belief that Creator does all things well. I see our lives like beautiful woven blankets or baskets. Creator takes all the twists and turns of our life, the experiences, the feelings, all of it, and weaves it each life into a deeply moving and beautiful work of art. There are gifts for everyone who's open to them. Creator can offer meaning and purpose for the one who died and the one who loves them. Okay. So first I ask you to clear out your baggage. Clear out your own thoughts, beliefs, and assumptions about your animal. This leaves room to see them as separate beings with their own personalities, peculiarities, and preferences. Then you can more easily see if they want to continue on in their physical body or they're ready to go. We can even accept when they change their minds. And I have met animals who have changed their minds. The top on my list right now are cats, but I've seen it in others as well. This is so useful, but it's difficult because we're incredibly attached to our animals. So, what beliefs and thoughts about what's happening to your animal are holding you on? Excuse me, live, imperfect. Are you holding on to that no longer serve you? If you can keep this question in mind, it might help you navigate through the last parts of their life. When you recognize your own needs and desires in the relationship, acknowledge them. There's nothing wrong with your feelings. None of them. Look into your heart, and from your heart space, remember that you want what's best for your animal. Okay. Here's my last point that I'm going to do in this chapter. I've got more to read, but for now, this is where I'm going to finish it. This is a tough one to say, but at some point, stop being the fixer. One underlying unconscious belief is that it's your responsibility to fix your animals and to bring them back to health. May I be blunt? With an abundance of compassion, having been there, it seems as if you believe you're God in this situation. If you just find the right doctor, treatment, and energy healing, it will all work out. But let me be clear. I'm not saying give up, don't try. There are so many modalities out there. One of them may be the answer to helping your animal heal, so you both get to spend more time together. But please take yourself off the hook now. If you continue to believe that you're an almighty powerful being, it's really hard for me to even say this, but that's what I wrote, who could bring your animals back to health all the way to the end, it will bite you in the butt after your animal passes on. I've heard it from loving, decent people. They feel that they failed their animal because they didn't do enough. They didn't find the cure that was right around the corner. As far as I know, we all die eventually, including your beloved animal. I can almost hear you say, "Of course I know that, Mary Beth." But deep down, we deny it as long as we can. It's so hard to bear this truth. So you give yourself a heavy mission. At some point, you will fail at achieving your mission. Your animal will pass on. So stop being the fixer. Somewhere along the way, This is probably the conversation you need to have with yourself. Surround yourself with self love. Acknowledge you're human. As a human, you will probably be unable to keep your loved ones alive for the entire time you're on the planet. Instead of believing you will prevail over all odds, shift to a softer, more comforting belief. Tell yourself you'll do all you can to help your animal stay in their body until it doesn't make sense anymore. That's about the time no one's having fun. Remember, it isn't the end. Animals, like humans, survive death. Releasing them from their physical body can be a blessing for them. They will be grateful once they feel the pleasure of being whole again in the spiritual plane. I guarantee it from my own personal experience of checking in with them. So I want to end with one story from Laurence uh, up in Canada. She shared this with me, and I thought it was so good. She gave me permission to uh, share this email she sent to me after we worked with her dog, uh, Tug, Jazz and Tug. Well, actually, Tug was gone and Jazz was still around. All right, so here we go. This is Laurence speaking, and I hope I spoke correctly about your name, Laurence. When we got our two Labrador retrievers about 12 years ago, I had already been focused on nourishing food and exercise for a very long time in our family. So it was easy to include Jazz and Tug. We got Jazz as a male puppy and Tug as a 7-year-old female. They were both our first pets. It is only recently, after a session with Mary Beth, that I painfully realized that being obsessed with their health has robbed me of the most beautiful part of my relationship with my two beautiful dogs: the soul connection, the fun, the freedom. Tug died at 15 with numerous health issues that should have led to a much earlier euthanasia. I wanted her to heal and die on her own. I could not make the decision to euthanize her until our vet explained to me how difficult her life was. Been there, right? Many of us have. Jazz started to show lameness in his back legs a while ago. And again, I was trying to find the healing. I desperately wanted perfect health for him, no matter his age. Our vets cannot find anything obvious, and he doesn't show signs of pain. He's still active and enthusiastic. After the session with Mary Beth, I let go of the mindset. Keep reading, right? I got to keep reading it for you. I discovered that I was missing out on the soul connection with Jazz because I was so driven and focused on doing the right thing for his body, feeling over responsible about it and like a failure. I couldn't find a solution. This was a lot for me to carry around, and it got in the way of our relationship. Can you hear that? She's being so vulnerable here. I love it. So Lawrence goes on to say, I now deeply enjoy our time together. So relaxed and fun. Just being with each other. I can see how precious this time of his life is. The adorable old senior dog that smells every blade of grass and doesn't care about exercise. But as a lab, cares a lot about food. It is amazing that he still walks a significant distance every day, but he decides where, when, and at what pace. We now walk behind him. I realize now the weight, one of fighting diseases so I can keep him longer, was a heavy one. Now I'm going with the flow, accepting that aging can be a beautiful time of life, even if the body is not perfect. I am accepting that his lifespan is much shorter than ours and that one day he won't be with us anymore. I'm not sure that I've completely accepted this one. I get it, Laurent. It is amazing how much our pets teach us about ourselves and about life. And I'm going to put this up close and see if you can. This is probably not great, but that's the picture of Laurence and Jazz. Okay. So that's it. Um, it's a heavy subject, but I hope that it's something that helps you. I'm if I continue to have the courage, I will read more parts of my book for you, and hope that I get a little bit of chat about this and we can talk about it more. Thank you so much for hanging out with me, and have a great day. Bye now.